Professional golf is a sport that is so much more than just getting a golf ball into a hole in the ground. There are so many ways that golfers around the world show their appreciation for the sport, and one of them is their enthusiastic appreciation for the PGA Tour. Many fans even wish to compete in the tournament one day alongside their favorite golfers. And while that may seem like a far-fetched fantasy, it is completely achievable. And to prove exactly how doable that is, here's our series on how to become a professional golfer on the PGA Tour. Whether you're a recreational golfer, a beginner, or just a fan of the sport, this series is designed to provide you with valuable insights into what it takes to make it onto the tour. We'll be covering everything from developing your skills to competing in tournaments and sharing tips and advice from experts in the industry and from golfers who have successfully made it onto the PGA Tour. So, if you're interested in learning more about what it takes to become a professional golfer on the PGA Tour, be sure to tune into each video in this series. The way we see it, there are a few simple steps to follow if you want to get on the PGA Tour. 7 to be precise. Number 1, and this is pretty self-explanatory, you must be really good at golf. Getting on the tour is not for amateur golfers. Keep watching this video to learn exactly how to get there and what is it that makes a good golfer. Number 2, you need to compete in amateur events to get your skill level up. Then, for step number 3, it's time to shed that amateur golfer status and go pro. And if you're wondering how, this series is perfect for you. The 4th step is going to Q school, and the 5th is eventually competing on the infamous Korn Ferry Tour. This will lead you to the final steps of 6 and 7, which is when you'll be able to become a PGA Tour player and get on the PGA Tour. So far in this series, we've discussed how to get good at golf on a personal, amateur, and professional level. And now it's time to move on talking about what comes after. Say you establish yourself as a pro golfer. How do you get to the PGA Tour? Do you just sign up and wait for your name to be drawn out like the lottery? Well, it's a bit more complicated. See, to get to the PGA Tour, you have to first go through the Korn Ferry Tour. And in the past, you could register for Q school, grind out 6 days of tournament golf. Yes, 6 days, and could make it to the big leagues. Unfortunately though, as golf has progressed and become more competitive, they've had to tweak the process a little bit. Today, aspiring pro golfers must go to Q school to earn a spot on the Korn Ferry Tour. The Q school process is a bit of a grind itself, and it's made up of 4 stages that take place over the stage of 4 months. That's right, 4 months. See, in the past, golfers could register for Q school and grind out 6 days of tournament golf to earn a spot on the PGA Tour. However, as golf became more popular and competitive, adjustments had to be made to the process. Today, golfers must go through Q school to earn a spot on the Korn Ferry Tour, the gateway to the PGA Tour. The Korn Ferry Tour, formerly known as the Web.com Tour, is the second-tier professional golf tour in the United States. It serves as a development tour for the PGA Tour, with the top 25 players on the Korn Ferry Tour earning PGA Tour cards for the following season. The Q school process is not for the faint of heart. It is a grueling 4-stage journey that spans 4 months, and only the most determined and skilled golfers will make it through. The first step for most golfers is pre-qualifying, where they can register as a professional or compete as an amateur. This expensive tournament is a great opportunity to see how your game stacks up against other aspiring pros. The first step most golfers have to go through is pre-qualifying stage. You can register as a professional or even compete as an amateur. Registration is the same price, but you don't have to give up on your amateur status at this point. Here's where you can truly gauge where your game stacks up. This event is 3 days long and has no cuts. Each venue selects a certain number of players and tries to move on to the first stage based on the total size of the field. The second step, ironically called the first stage, happens in the fall and has a 3-day tournament without any cut. Here too, only a certain numbers of players are allowed to proceed. There's also a new entry fee that players must pay before moving on. Unsurprisingly, the competition only gets tougher from here on out. After the first stage comes the second, where players who manage to qualify in the first stage can start showcasing their skills. It takes place later in the fall and is played at 3 to 5 sites around the US. As we said, here's where the pressure really starts getting to you because you're getting that much closer to the final stage. Speaking of which, the final stage takes place every year in late November or December. This is the most cutthroat event, lasting 4 days with no cuts. You really have to grind it out here. And 25 players are selected from the big crowd that initially applies, and they're the ones who get to secure their spot on the Korn Ferry Tour. For golfers who are successful in getting their Korn Ferry Tour card, the real work begins. The tour is not easy, and it takes a lot of talent and hard work to succeed. Players have to compete against some of the best golfers in the world, and the pressure is immense. But if your ultimate dream is to get onto the PGA Tour and get recognition in the golf world, it's definitely possible and the best route to take. Take for example how players on the Korn Ferry Tour are not only competing for money and prestige, but they're also competing for a spot on the PGA Tour. The top 25 players on the Korn Ferry Tour money list at the end of the season earn their PGA Tour cards for the following season. It's a tough road, but for those who make it, the rewards speak for themselves. However, even if you finish 26 to 50, there's still hope. You'll receive conditional status and can play a selected number of events to try and play your way to the full status through good results. All in all, it's a long and challenging road just to make it to the Korn Ferry Tour, and there are still massive steps to take to reach the PGA Tour. Obviously, there's always the possibility that you don't end up qualifying for the Korn Ferry Tour. There could be countless reasons for that, but that definitely doesn't mean that you should give up. And for those of us who don't like leaving things up to chance, there are alternate routes to the Korn Ferry Tour and the PGA Tour, and we've covered some of them in other videos. Check them out if you're interested in finding other ways to get onto the Korn Ferry Tour. But for those who are up for the challenge, Q School is an opportunity to showcase your skills and earn your spot amongst the best in the world. In conclusion, the road to the PGA Tour is a long and challenging one, and Q School is just one of the many hurdles that aspiring professional golfers have to get through to make that final dream just come true. It's important to understand that this is a very attainable dream that requires just much practice as any big dream might, and that you have to keep going. And that's all for this video. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed part 4 of this series, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Press the bell icon to get notified every time we upload more videos in this series, and follow us along as we teach you exactly how to get onto the PGA Tour.